So, I want to talk about Kandi Burrus and Todd Tucker getting a divorce. And just an FYI, I do weekly videos for Neptunian members and patrons where I cover plenty of other trending topics and share my strategic advice for women based on those stories. So, if you are interested in my exclusive content, the links to join are in the description box. Also, if you enjoy my content, be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. So, recently it was announced by People magazine that Todd and Kandi from Real Housewives of Atlanta are getting a divorce after 11 years of marriage. And a lot of people are talking about this because when Kandi was on Real Housewives, there was a lot of controversy surrounding her and Todd because Miss Joyce, Kandi's mother, as well as her aunts, did not think that Todd was good enough for Kandi.
Well, it could have been a scheme that Todd set up.
They didn't think he made enough money because he was actually working as a cameraman for the show, while Kandi, on the other hand, is a multi-platinum Grammy award-winning artist that is worth millions of dollars. I think I remember that Phaedra hooked Todd and Kandi up. And if I remember correctly, Todd wasn't initially interested in Kandi. And Miss Joyce also accused Todd of being an opportunist because he quit his job shortly after he got with Kandi. And there was also drama on the show when Kandi told Todd she wanted a prenup to protect her assets. I remember he got really upset and he didn't want to sign it at first. And I remember thinking back then that that was a huge red flag. And that, of course, is when I was actually watching reality television. But I always agreed with Miss Joyce. I never really thought that Todd was a good fit for Kandi. Todd has always been a walking red flag, in my opinion, because of what he says and does. I do remember when Kandi and Todd first got together, they weren't even together for a year, and Kandi was complaining about Todd not wanting to be intimate with her or them not being intimate enough. And she said he only wanted to do it once a week. And then when she brought it up to him, he made the comment that she didn't look like Rihanna.
I was thinking maybe we could go to counsel.
What are we going to therapy for?
Well, my main thing is not enough sex.
Okay. Not
Okay.
enough sex.
I mean, damn, can we have sex more than once a week?
Let's be real. I'm not Tyson Bedford. You're not Rihanna. I ain't say the
Whoa, buddy.
Oh, here we
That
go.
was not the right thing to say.
And he basically said that she wasn't sexy enough in the bedroom because she wore a bonnet. And even though I understood what he was saying when he made that comment, I mean, most men don't find bonnets to be sexy. However, I still don't think something like that would make a man only want to be intimate with his wife once a week, unless, of course, he's not strongly attracted to her. And then him specifically comparing Kandi to Rihanna, a woman she looks nothing like, that was a huge red flag to me. And y'all know I always talk about how a lot of these black men, they will settle for dark-skinned, unambiguous women for money or for convenience or whatever and not really be into them like that. And I feel like this is one of those situations. I remember thinking back when I watched the show that Todd wasn't really into Kandi like that because of how he talked to her, especially on a public platform. I just feel like when men embarrass women like that, when they embarrass the women that they're with, in the manner in which he was doing it, I just feel like that points to a lack of respect, a lack of attraction, and just an overall lack of concern for their image. And then we also have to factor in how Kandi and Todd brought other women into their marriage to sleep with.
Hers 230 said threesomes never work. That's not true. I done had a threesome and it worked just fine. It worked great, actually.
And I know that Kandi is bi and she is a very openly sexual person. So I'm not saying that she never enjoyed it, but I do think a part of why she allowed that is because deep down she knew she wasn't enough for Todd. And a lot of women will have threesomes with men because they think that's going to keep him faithful and keep him satisfied. But usually it doesn't quite work that way. It actually opens the door for infidelity. And I also saw where Kandi publicly spoke about how Todd liked to stay out all night and party. And so there have always been red flags with Todd. And this is why I always tell you ladies that you should always be a man's physical type. He should be strongly attracted to you because when he's not, he will treat you worse than he would otherwise. Or his actions will show you that he's not into you like that. Now, of course, strong attraction doesn't necessarily stop a man from cheating, but it does impact how he treats you overall because men are very visual. So in my opinion, Miss Joyce was right from the very beginning. And it just seems like this was the typical dysfunctional Black marriage where the Black woman is the breadwinner. She's desperate to be married or desperate to be in a relationship, or she's desperate to have a family, specifically with a Black man. So she settles, marries hypogamously, marries a man who's not on her level, and marries a man who's not that into her, isn't strongly attracted to her, and is primarily with her for her money and her resources. And in Kandi's case, also for fame, status, and clout as well. And because a lot of Black women aren't the smartest when it comes to relationships and tend to have low self-esteem and a low sense of self-worth, regardless of being successful in other areas and confident in other areas, like in their career, for example, they don't see men for who they are. And they have a blind spot when it comes to men and relationships. And there's actually a clip going around from Todd's YouTube channel, and this was a couple of years ago, but he and Kandi were discussing, should the husband or wife get half of the money after a divorce?
Even in divorce, I don't think it's right when men be trying to take half of the women. I don't think it's cool. Like, I feel like a man should always be a man and be able to handle his own or whatever, right? So, if...
So you gained your money while the man was with you, and he nurtured you, he helped you, he gave you ideas, he was a part of that, you know, that progression. You don't think he should get anything? You did it all.
What is he?
Nobody said she did it all.
Well, no. I'm just saying,
like,
you with your husband right now, right? So say he's like, you should do this, you should do that. Let's work on this. Like he's setting you up. He's organizing you. He's getting your shit right.
When you and I got together in marriage,
Right.
and we made more businesses, we made more, there were more things happening.
Right.
To me, the money that was made after marriage, that's a different conversation, because we both contributed, whatever. But the money I had when I came in this thing,
But nobody's talking about. Nobody's
No,
even,
but
that's not even part of the conversation.
No,
Whatever
but it is to me, because when
But
you're
that's not our
talking about
conversation.
going into a house or a property, because that's what our conversation is about, right? Buying properties together. It's like, if I used my money from prior to purchase it, meaning like this house, for instance, no, I didn't feel like I should.
So a man can do the same thing. He can feel the same way. No, like, that's mine from before. You get your weight up. So you feel that way? You don't.
You didn't put my name on the jersey, crib.
The part you're missing. Stop. Candy.
I didn't get offended.
Candy, you have to listen. Just listen.
What?
And I know Kandi has a prenup, but this clip kind of makes me worry for her and think that this divorce could get messy and Todd could try to get the prenup thrown out, because that is a thing. And we have heard of that happening. Now, I hope he doesn't do that, and I hope it's an amicable split, but only time will tell. And I see a lot of Black women online doing commentary on this, and they're saying, oh, well, they lasted for 11 years. That's a long time. This was a successful marriage. And sure, I guess if you consider that the duration of most marriages that end in divorce is 7 or 8 years, yeah, they did surpass that. But personally, I never looked at this marriage as a high quality marriage, regardless of how long they were together. And the fact that so many Black women are speaking about their marriage like it was a great marriage, it shows just how low the bar is for marriage in the Black community. Because the argument is, oh, well, they started all these businesses together. Well, how many of those businesses are still up and running? How many of those businesses failed? And then I remember Todd had his own business and he was saying how he was unhappy and he only started the business because he felt pressured to be more successful by Kandi's family because they wanted him to be better for her or more of a qualified partner for her, so to speak. And so Kandi did what a lot of successful Black women do. They try to force their husbands to be the successful businessmen that they really don't want to be, or they try to bring them up to their level. And what women, and especially Black women, don't understand is that a man is really never going to feel like a man in this society if he doesn't get his success on his own. And so when you have these kind of hypogamous relationship and marriage dynamics where the woman significantly out-earns the man and he has to use her resources to reach a higher level of success or to reach her level of success, he's always going to feel inadequate in that position. He's always going to feel less of a man. For most men, that's how they're going to feel. This is not to say that all hypogamous relationships fail, but this is usually how it goes because of the societal expectations for men. Not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how it is. And so because that's how it is, it creates a lot of resentment from both parties in the relationship, but especially from men. And they start taking out that resentment on the woman. And I feel like we saw some of that in this relationship. And I think that the Black community wants to ignore all of that. And they want to believe that this was a better relationship or a better marriage than it actually was. It goes back to what I always say about how people, and especially Black people, think that the ring and the title of marriage is all that matters and not the quality of the marriage. And these are the kind of marriages that Black women will get online and brag about being in to try to one up other Black women. Meanwhile, she's paying all the bills or most of the bills. Her husband isn't even attracted to her. He's only intimate with her once a week. He's cheating on her, or they have to bring in other women to keep him satisfied. They spend years of being miserable in their marriages, yet they're trying to make us believe that they're happy. And sadly, a lot of women fall for it because they want to believe in that Black love fairy tale. And unfortunately, a lot of women who are in these kind of relationships, they stay longer than they need to stay, either because they have children and they want to make it work for the children, and or society has conditioned them into believing that being married makes them more valuable as a woman. So in their eyes, a miserable marriage, a bad marriage is better than no marriage at all. That's unfortunately how a lot of women, and especially Black women, think. And a lot of them, they will put up a front to the world. They will pretend that their problems aren't there while they are suffering in silence. All because they want to be able to say, I am a married woman and I'm married to a Black man. And listen, I'm not saying this applies to all Black women who are married. If you're happy and it doesn't apply, let it fly. This is only about the women it applies to. And I'm just here to encourage Black women to stop tolerating men who aren't on your level and suffering in these hypogamous relationships, all to say that you have a man. Just be single until you find what you're looking for. Forget what the Black community has to say. Forget what society has to say. Because your happiness and your well-being is more important. And what you don't want to do is get in too deep where it's harder to leave. Like, Kandi will be fine. She's financially well above average. She and her kids are going to be okay. But for the average everyday Black woman, a lot of times these hypogamous relationships and marriages are much harder to get out of and much harder to move on from. So just keep that in mind. But all in all, I am glad that Kandi finally decided to put herself first and leave this situation. Because I personally don't think that she's truly been happy in this marriage for a very long time, based on her own complaints that she's filed publicly.
I filed for divorce on Friday. And yeah. Right now it's a pretty crazy time. We'll talk about more of that later. I don't want to be sad right now. I'm going to be very honest with you. I am up and down. And to be clear, yes, I filed Friday, but this is something that, has been brewing for a while. So all the times you've been seeing me online like, all of that means nothing. I've been going through it, y'all.
Again, I really hope this doesn't get messy, but I do wish her the best. And ladies, just let this be an example of what not to do. Take heed of all the red flags I mentioned in this video. And if a man is showing you any signs of not being into you, leave and be single until you find a man who is. Because it rarely ever ends well. So yeah, that is all I have on this topic for now. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.